Here.
Herman.
Here.
Hudak.
All right, approval of minutes. Questions, concerns, changes?
Move to approve. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right, the first item of business, discuss and recommend parkland dedication and/or fees in lieu of parkland dedication for the Island View Estate subdivision.
Pull this up. Are you able to access what was in the packet then? So
Yeah,
there's the
yep.
plat. So I will start this out, and then we do have two representatives from the development here, and they'll be here for any questions or anything the board might have. But what we're looking at is discussion and recommendation for parkland dedication and/or fees in lieu of parkland dedication for the Island View Estate subdivision. As I stated in my memo, Island View is really up in the far northeastern section of the city, north of Sunnyview Road and east of County Road A. Erica did pull up the preliminary plat, which was included in your packet. This plat includes 21 single-family lots, which requires, per our current city code, 23,100 square feet of parkland, and 18 condominium units requiring 16,200 square feet, for a total parkland dedication requirement of 39,300 square feet. Included in the preliminary plat is Outlot 1, which encompasses 36,897 square feet. I have the mouse back. So Outlot 1, if you can't see it on your drawing, this is Outlot 1. So we've got some internal streets into the subdivision, but a corner lot being proposed for the city park. This area back in here is, all the pink is wetlands, but there was also, I believe, is going to be utilized for some of the stormwater management for the site. And from what I understand through engineering, you're still working through some of that. So a lot of this area that's already wetlands will be, and Outlot 1 will be utilized for some of their stormwater management. So you can see that there's going to be a number of new residences. We're going to have a number of condos up on this side, and a number of single-family lots. And what I wanted to pull up, and we do have, I'm sorry, we do have Mitch on Zoom here that's also here representing the subdivision as well. Mitch, can you hear us good?
I can hear you guys.
Okay. So, in the recently updated comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, you recall these maps?
You just ended up muted again.
How's that?
That's good.
All right. So what I've pulled up on the screen is our park service area map, which is included in our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan. So you can see the existing city parks, the radii or the service area that they have, the purple being the community parks, and the pink salamander being the neighborhood parks. And so this subdivision is up in this far, like I said, northeastern quadrant really. So you can see that it's not being serviced by city parks. So when we take a look at, this is the map that we adopted into the current corp. So when we take a look at this map, we did intend for a neighborhood park to be included right up in that general area. So this fits in with our comprehensive plan. I think it'll be a real nice addition for not only the new residents, but there are existing homes up in this area as well. So I think how we positioned it, we'll be able to serve some of the existing homes down in this area, as well as a number of the future homes by locating it essentially into the subdivision. So we are pleased with the location. As I stated in my memo, because the proposed parkland dedication is approximately 2,400 square feet short of the required 39,300, Staff is actually, we are recommending acceptance of the parkland and then a small payment and fee in lieu of parkland of approximately $800 just for that deficiency. So what we are looking for tonight, and we can have some questions by the board for the representatives as well, but if the board is comfortable with that recommendation, that would go to the Plan Commission and then ultimately the Common Council for this subdivision, so.
Question I am, how does this compare to the other parkland dedications, and does it, I know you said it falls into our comprehensive plan, but are we making an exception since it's under the requirements?
No, we can do that. We can accept the fees as well as the parkland. And I'm
Okay.
comfortable doing that here. We had some initial discussions where the park property actually extended a little bit further out into the wetlands. And in our internal discussions with staff, we preferred that we stayed outside of the wetlands as best as we could and then accept that small payment.
Okay. Thank you.
Gentlemen, do you guys want to come up, and if there's anything I'm missing, or you good right now?
Good.
Okay.
I appreciate this. It's an application of the policy where it's saying we can use both tools in the toolbox instead of saying, well, it's all going to be one or all has to be another. We took a plot of land that's not quite exactly what we're looking for, but is darn near close, and just take a small payment on top of that. So I like it. It's good by me.
Yeah.
Any questions at all?
And we were willing to give more, but understand that wetland causes some limitations, so just making sure that we got a good solid park for the area that's maintainable is really the most important part.
Even though it's below the square footage, I would assume the space is big enough to do what we normally would for a
Yeah,
neighborhood park
yep.
for the playground.
Yeah, it's just short of an acre.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I'll make a motion to accept the proposal.
I'll second it.
Right. Davis?
Aye.
Plum?
Aye.
Metz?
Aye.
Franz?
Aye.
Herman?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much for
Thank
coming.
you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
thank you. Mitch, everything's good, so I'm gonna let you lead the meeting.
Sounds good, thanks guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's in the same, this is just the attachment.
All right, so the next agenda item is really just an update on the murals at Menominee Park Zoo. This is something that we've been working on with Discover Oshkosh and a consultant that they have hired to really look at the amenities around the city, try to do a little more things that are attractive for residents, visitors, and patrons at our parks and the zoos. And the consultant that Discover Oshkosh hired is Spark Towns. And so what they do is they go into the communities and help make some of those place-setting murals, things that people would like to go to as photo opportunities, but also just some attractive improvements to some of the facilities. So we've been working with Discover Oshkosh staff and Greg from Spark Towns. And one of the area that we thought is a focus that we'd like to look at is some improvements to the aesthetics at the Menominee Park Zoo, which would include adding murals to the various buildings at the zoo. What I included in your meeting packet is really a call for artist flyer that went out last week that is being distributed. Essentially, select artists artists that are interested can contact Discover Oshkosh or myself, and what we will do is we will pare down those artists based on some interviews that we'll be having. And then those chosen, we'll work with the Parks Department, Discover Oshkosh, and Spark Towns to potentially paint murals on the husbandry building, Lakefly Cafe, otter exhibit walls, and bear fox walls. The murals will reflect the zoo's mission, animals, and environment to create a cohesive and engaging visual theme throughout the facility. I stated in my memo that these are just one of the areas that we're looking at to enhance the visitor experience at the zoo. We're looking at some other additions of potential some shade structures, a little more color to the area. If you haven't driven by Menominee Park the last couple of weeks, our park staff and street staff have been doing a nice entryway improvement. So we're making it less confusing when you walk into the zoo, the gates, and we're making the Lakefly Cafe is now ADA accessible. But the concrete area that's an asphalt that was out in front of the main entrance, we took all of that out because it was in poor condition, pouring concrete in that first portion, and then we're doing a lot of new asphalt along the Lakefly Cafe, and as well as some of the pathways inside the zoo that were previously gravel, and they will be more accessible and a lot safer. So those are some of the improvements. One of the other areas that we are having some conversations with some interested individuals in the community. If you recall earlier this year, the discussion we had about the Menominee Park amusement train, we've had some discussions with individuals that would like to see possibly a train that you actually drive on land, so we could take it through the park paths, make it a little more experience throughout the park. So we're having some discussions about that, and we'll be bringing that to this board in the near future too. I think with the Clearwaters project going on and the addition of some additional waterfront pathways along Lakeshore Drive, it really opens up an opportunity for us to do something a little more tourist type thing, or even for the residents, of course, to possibly get into a train on wheels, be able to go all the way from the beach area up to Ames Point, really take a nice tour of the zoo. Possibility that maybe after hours or before hours that maybe the zoo, the train could go through the zoo area as well, but that would have to be still determined. So just without giving you more information, we're kind of working on behind the scenes on some of that stuff. But the big one right now is the murals at Menominee Park. So just looking at the flyer, give you an idea, the first picture upper left, that's really the main entry to the zoo. The front of the Lakefly Cafe, and then the second picture, the one on the right, that's really the old ticket booth, just to the west of the Lakefly Cafe. And then we looked at the otter and bear exhibits, and there are some concrete walls that we feel that, maybe some murals with otters, bears, fox, and so forth, whatever the artist might dream up. And then the husbandry building is the one stating the lagoon facing wall of the service building. That one we actually were looking to replace the siding on that building this year. So as we're looking to do that, we're going to work with the artists and come up with a product that would suit somebody putting murals onto it. So we're working on that as well. Some of the other ones are the attractive displays, that interactive displays that we have down there. But we are going to be working with, obviously there is a part of the city code, there's a mural application and so forth that we have to work through with our planning division. We've contacted them, and they are in support of this, so that's why we decided that we'd go ahead and have that call for artists out there. So,
Awesome.
any questions or concerns? I think it's really going to be a really neat addition, the first step that
I just have one. Obviously, I support the murals and everything. Is that coming out of your budget, or are we looking for grants or somebody to donate? Are we doing a fundraising to cover the murals, or is that kind of like an operations thing?
Nope, we did not budget for this, and I made sure to inform everybody of that. So we'll be doing some applications for some grants, donations, and in talking with Discover Oshkosh, they do have a tourism fund that will probably be making an application for some funding from there. So to answer your question, right now, we do not have funding in our budget, We will be looking to get the siding replaced, of course, out of our budget, but then working to figure out how we'll fund the murals.
So it's kind of a long, I want to say long-term, but if we discovery or whatever through the state's tourism application program, we might be able to get some cash that way.
That's our hope, yes.
Okay,
Because
sounds good.
we're really trying to come up with some funding to get this done yet this year. We'd like to see it happening this
Okay.
summer into the fall. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll be working on, typically like we do, trying to raise some funds to get it completed.
For potential funds, somebody or a group that I thought of would be potentially be the Museum Arts and Culture Board, because they work with public art, but there may be some grant opportunities there. If they have any sort of bank of grants or any research that they've done on public art in the past and how to pay for it, that could be one avenue.
Yeah.
I made note of that.
And off of Jacob's comment, have we talked to the community foundation to see if they would have anything that would, you know, I know they've helped us with the the Pollock Water Park and stuff like that. Would they have anything that might be able to help offset the cost or be the stigma to be the fundraiser for it, something like this?
As part of the long-range plans and discussions we're having about Menominee Park, Carleen from the Community Foundation has been part of our meetings.
Okay.
So yeah, she's aware of this and is aware that, that we're gonna be looking for some funding as well.
Okay, excellent.
Yes. So stay tuned. You know, like I said, we are, right now it's a call for artists and we'll keep you up to date on how that transpires.
Do you need something from this board to move this forward, or is this
Nope,
an update?
No, it was really an update.
Okay.
That's how we were comfortable, as long as we, I did, like I said, talked with planning staff and they're comfortable with the application for the murals through their process, so.
Okay.
How many artists are you looking for? Like, is one gonna do all of them, or?
No, I think that we would take a number of different artists, all depending on the ideas that they bring forward and the experience. So I think we're looking for multiple artists.
Okay.
That's all I had on that one.
All right. Now, presentation of the Parks Department Impact Report 2024.
All right, so we will pull it up on the screen. So as you're aware, the department has been doing an impact report for probably the last 6 or 7 years, I'm guessing. And we try to do it once we get everything completed in the winter season and pull together some information, some key performance indicators and so forth. So wanted to present that to the board tonight. So this is 2024. You can see what our mission statement is, all the staff members. And then, as I said, we have some key performance indicators. A lot of these are reflected in the city strategic plan as well for our department for KPIs. But a couple of here that we wanted to make note of. In 2024, we received 360 grants and or donations, totaling nearly $725,000. So that includes pool, all of Jenny's special events, senior center, parks, and so it's the entire department. We did have 553 department-sponsored events with nearly 32,000 participants. Again, I want to remind you that the senior center is part of our department, even though they don't report to the Advisory Parks Board, so their numbers are included in here as well. But that also includes the all of Jenny's programs at the zoo, the Brews on the Bay, and everything that we offer. As far as volunteers go, we had 553 volunteers, totaling over 12,500 volunteer hours. And when you take a look at the value of those hours, it's over $413,000. So again, we rely heavily on not only the grants and donations, but the volunteers to help us to make sure that these programs can go forward. The other thing that we've started to do quite a bit more of for volunteers is Chad and Travis work closely with Kathy Snell and come up with some landscaping and park projects that helps us so that our field staff doesn't have to take care of some mulching and some other programs or some projects. And so we've started to have more volunteers coming in, some corporate volunteers coming in, doing some painting recently of some things throughout the parks. So that really is something that we've been trying to build on as well. Some of the highlights for 2024, as this board knows, we completed our comprehensive outdoor recreation plan, which is required every 5 years. So that document has been updated. And of course, we had the opening of the new Bear and Fox exhibit last year, and I think it'll be shown on a slide a little bit further down. At the zoo, we had over 102,000 visitors in 2024. And a lot of that comes from, again, Jenny talked about a lot of her programs at the zoo and the number of participants that have been in those programs. But I think that also having the zoo open through the winter months during our operating hours helped to bring in a couple thousand more people as well.
Where does that number compare to historically?
We have been over 100,000 for a number of years. The last couple of years have been just under, I want to say the lower 90,000s. I can actually pull that together and we can bring that for another report. We keep that because we go back all the way to 2006, I think it was, when the zoo was started to be free. So we have some numbers that we can share with you. And obviously during COVID, those numbers were, so we can bring that and let you know that too.
Great, thank you.
Some operations and enhancements. 44th Parallel Park received the new playground equipment and the poured in place rubber surfacing. Out at Rouge Park, we did some path work, some abutments to some of our bridges, some concrete and asphalt work. We also at Rouge Park constructed what we call the West Side Trail. That really goes from the Traeger School property to the preserve on Sawyer Creek subdivision on the west of the park. Menominee Park, we painted, restored the gazebo, I'm sorry. I think we put a new roof on there and painted that. We did remove the beach house at Menominee Park and then renovated that site. And obviously the Pratt Trail Road reconstruction was completed. Menominee Park Zoo, we started to replace many of the gravel paths with asphalt, and that continues. We had the Bear Fox exhibit was completed. And then obviously for those exhibits, we did go through the process of securing the black bear and a couple of the red foxes. Continuing with some of the enhancements, South Park, we did some restoration on the pedestrian bridge, did some repaving of some of the trails in the park. Quarry Park, we did remove the shelter restroom building and the parking lot and restored that to natural turf. Lakeshore Park, we officially opened in February of '24. And then the West Side Trail and parking lot, essentially over near Two Brothers and La Quinta, we installed a parking lot and a trail that connects from the parking lot down to the river trail, and then that connects right up to the Tribal Heritage Trail. And we see that parking lot really starting to be more of a trailhead parking for many people getting onto the trail. Rainbow Memorial Park, we did some updates to the area that we had the Brews on the Bay events last year. And of course, we hosted those events at Rainbow, and that was very successful. Leach Amphitheater, we had a number of the booth curtains replaced on the stage and the sound booth. And then we did some pretty major renovations in the East Concession Stand, replacing one of the grills in that concession stand. I believe we're doing the same on the west side this year. Pala Community Water Park, this was a large project to get the leisure pool replastering completed. So we move into the landscape operations. 276 trees were planted. 1,963 trees were pruned. 79 trees removed. And then our team also plants and maintains about 100 planters in the downtown area, and then 156 stumps removed. The landscape operations division also helped with landscaping features at the new Bear and Fox exhibit. And then the other big project that Travis and his team were involved with was the design and renovation of the roundabouts at the city entryways. I think every time I drive by those, they just look so much cleaner and so much fresher that it's really refreshing to see. And I know Travis and his team are staying on top of that and making some other improvements to some of the medians around in the area. I noticed over by McDonald's and Lowe's, some of those smaller medians, some fresh bark was placed in there, and there's going to be some new plantings and a few other ones. So just really nice to see some of those refreshments.
Yeah, they look fantastic, so thank you, Travis. Your team's done an awesome job with that. Going up Ray's Point, it's been great.
Yeah, and of course, that was another partnership between Discover Oshkosh, the Community Foundation, as well as the Kinzel Foundation, and the City of Oshkosh, of course. Talk about collaborations and volunteers helping to beautify our parks. Travis and his team worked with the Bentwood Neighborhood Association. There was a vacant city plot that they made some improvements to, some benches, some seating areas, some fresh plantings. More of it turned it into a green space for the neighborhood. And again, we have volunteer groups that work alongside us on Fire Station 18. We spruced up some of the landscaping there. We transplanted perennials to beautify the Menominee Park Zoo grounds. And then if you haven't noticed, they planted tulips in Opera House Square, again, another partnership. I haven't driven by, but
They are blooming and it's beautiful. They're not quite the pain. They're not that extensive, but it's a good start.
good. So I think that'll be a real nice addition to the downtown area as well. Pollock Pool, you can see the sponsorship dollars. That donations amount to $330,000. That includes a large portion of that is from the Community Foundation, from the endowment fund, to help pay for the replastering of the lazy river. And attendance at the pool was just under 34,000. That's a little shy of where we normally are. I would say we are typically between the 35 and 42,000 per year. Special events at the pool, attendance total was over 1,900. You can see all the different events that Jenny hosts over there and the attendance. Leach Amphitheater, some sponsorships, donations, attendance estimated at about 11,000 people between the Live at the Leach, Touch a Truck, June Dairy Day, movie nights, and then the yoga that we had at the park as well. We had 2 of the Tuesday night concert series events sponsored by the department, 2 movie nights, Touch a Truck, yoga, and then June Dairy Days. As far as the Children's Amusement Center goes, they were closed obviously because of the Pratt Trail reconstruction. We are gearing up and will be opening up that area for 2024. We start on May 24th, I believe, is the opening of that. And then down in that area, Jenny still has a few special events that she hosts down there. And you can see that the total attendance for those was about 900 people. Menominee Park Zoo, just under $15,000 in sponsorships. A lot of that is for, again, Jenny's programs and so forth. Donations of $74,000. A lot of that includes the Herrenberg donation. And then the zoo attendance, just like I said, over 102,000. Special events attendance at the zoo, again, just a big increase in that number to over 23,000 people between all the events, the Wildlife Wednesdays, the summer programs, a lot of those programs that our new coordinators really doing a great job on. Senior Center I can touch on. In 2024, total visits to the Senior Center was just over 50,000 people. That is the attendance that we had pre-COVID, and that's been our goal for the last couple of years, is to get back to that attendance level. You can see that nearly 62% of the visits are fitness and related programs, 14% in personal training usage since 2023, and we got into the personal training at the Senior Center about 2 years ago, and it's so popular that we are still looking for additional instructors for that program, and we're actually starting to do some small group personal training because of the demand for the program. Educational programs, just over 8,000 people, various social events, programs, 700-800 people. You can see the others, outreach support and other meetings and programs. But again, if you haven't been to the senior center, let us know. We can take you for a tour. Dan Brown, the manager over there, would be happy to give you a tour. So let us know if you'd like to get in there. Some of the program information and some of the pictures from that. Between the different food programs, arts and crafts, we've actually started to take some of our year-round zoo animals over to the senior center and use that at a little intergenerational. We actually leave some of the animals over there in the cage for the day, and they'll do some educational programs as well. We do have the Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center that do some major fundraisers for us, and they contribute $70,000 a year towards the senior center operations. And then winding up with special events through Kathy Snell and all of the events that come into the city. In 2024, special events permits reached a record high of 104. This is an 11% increase compared to 2023. Some of the new events obviously played a critical piece of that, especially Crossroads 41 and the Walk to Defeat ALS, which is both are set to return in 2025. Neighborhood block parties, we work closely with our staff in the police department on some of those neighborhood night outs and neighborhood association programs. And then some of the focus on the safety downtown is continually using the anti-vehicle barriers and police services for a lot of the downtown events, farmers market and so forth. A couple of the groups that have volunteered with our team last year, Keller Williams did some fall decorations and some mulching. Avail switchgear systems, they help plant the tulips in Opera House Square. U.S. Bank shrub bed mulching at 3 parks. Winnebago Community Credit Union decorating and painting and some beautification. And then this one is gives a little more detail on some of our marketing and fund development, some of the grants and sponsorships. So we did receive $2,500 from Discover Oshkosh for assistance with the Bridging Past and Present, Exploring Native American Cultural Heritage. Theta, Bella Care, Lakeland Care donated $5,000 to $3,000. Theta for the Menominee Park Zoo summer events, and then Bella and Lakeland for some events at the Senior Center. Again, Friends of the Oshkosh Senior Center continue to provide some funding. They provided some additional funding for, again, the Bridging Past and Present program. Some grant dollars from the Ladies Benevolent Society for some part-time staff for our personal training. Network Health, we have a partnership for $10,000 for a premier sponsorship package there. And then Travis and Ann were successful in getting a $25,000 urban forestry grant. And so basically it's a project that will have expenditures of $50,000, $25,000 coming from the DNR grant, and then Travis worked with Bill Wyman and the Community Foundation so that the city's match will actually come from the Taking Root Fund at the Community Foundation. So those will be match dollars from the Community Foundation over there. Wisconsin Arts Board grant, again, that was some funding to help with the Bridging Past and Present. And then Peace Lutheran Church, so again, some dollars to help with some of the personal training staff over there. So, a lot of good information. I think, if the public wants to see this information, I believe it's on the city website. If you go to the Parks Department, you'll find all of our impact reports from the various years. Will be out on the Parks Department webpage. So. Any questions?
I had a quick one on, if you take a look at the neighborhood associations, was seeing if the city, you guys utilize the city-owned lot to create some green space and kind of a pocket park, if you will. Have you seen additional neighborhood associations come forward and ask about utilizing city-owned property that's vacant, so the city-owned lots, for something similar of that nature?
In the past, we worked with Middle Village a number of years ago, Bentwoods. Again, what we do is work with those groups and organizations, let them know that we'll help get the infrastructure in, but we're asking you to volunteer, help maintain things, because obviously the more of those we put in, the more maintenance that's required. So we typically will have them adopt that site for the maintenance. I can't recall any other ones that might have come forward recently.
The only other one would be Quarry Park. They're putting in a strip of marigolds in the terrace. That's kind of a pilot just to see how that works. We're hoping it goes well, but we'll see what happens.
Sure. And I figured because that makes more maintenance work for the department, that the neighborhood association would have to pitch in with their volunteer times.
Yep, and we have River East helps us take care of the trash bins down in Riverside Park along the lake, or along the river. They also help with some of the watering at William Waters Plaza area, and they'll continue to help with some of those things. So we work very closely with a lot of those groups.
Okay.
A little bit of a different note. Where are we at with Ames, at the Ames with the natural planting of vegetation, I guess you could say? I saw it was cut way down the other day.
I got something in my update. So
Okay, that's good.
We'll get to it there.
All right, thanks.
All right, so that's the
Very good.
impact report.
Very good.
All right, moving on to staff reports. Mr. Mauer, you're still up.
I'll keep it brief. So what we have out at Lakeshore Park, the next project that we have started to work on is some of the historic and culturally significant signage that was talked about in the plan. We've met with the museum staff, and we're going to partner with the museum staff to help us with that project. We're looking at doing some historic signage that would match what's already along the Riverwalk. So we're looking to do things that will make sure to commemorate, the history of the golf course out there, as well as some of the cultural sensitive areas throughout the park. So we are working with the museum staff as well as the sign company. I think we're going to have a meeting coming up in June to get an update where we're at on that. I think what we talked about was the deadline of getting the signs and all the verbiage and pictures with the museum staff completed by the end of this year, get the signs ordered over winter so we could install those into next spring, I think is our goal at this point. So I know, Steve, you've had some individuals contact you in the past wondering where some of that
Right.
signage was, and I thought that would be one, that because the usage is really increasing, that there'd be some really good interest in that. So again,
good.
we appreciate the help that the museum staff is giving us on that one. Quarry Park Master Plan, update for you on that. Their neighborhood association received some grant funding to do a Quarry Park Master Plan. We've had some meetings with the DNR as well as ACOM staff, because obviously there is a landfill there, and there's some concerns with what we can and can't do below ground. So we wanted to make sure before we got into the neighborhood meetings that we were comfortable with what we'd be able to talk with them about. We do have a meeting scheduled with the Quarry Park Neighborhood Association. I believe it's next Monday. So we're going to continue to work with them on developing a Quarry Park Master Plan, and we'll be bringing that to this group when that is ready for approval. Update on the Pickard Park Master Plan. After this board made the recommendation, the Plan Commission and Common Council did approve the Pickard Park Master Plan. So we are starting to implement that. We have, right now, we have requests for proposals out for some new playground equipment to go into Pickard Park later this year. So we're going to continue to work on developing that park in that neighborhood. And then just a quick update on the 2026 to 2035 capital improvement program. If you've been on the board for a while, you know that typically May, June is when we bring those capital projects to this board. We are planning to do that in June. We're going to focus again in the first couple of years. We've been asked to go out 10 years at this point. So we'll be bringing you some of that information in June, so I would expect a little more conversation and a little more questions or input from the board on any of those, or if there's any priorities that you might want to shift around, we'll have that discussion. Any questions?
All right, very good. Okay, Travis.
All right, mine will be fairly brief as well. Just a quick update on memorial tree plantings. So we are still doing a spring planting of the memorial trees this year, even though we are not doing a terrace tree planting project. So this year we had 25 trees that are planted mainly in South Park and Menominee Park. There's also one going in Abe Rochland and one in Red Arrow. But with that, we are starting to see a lot of decorations being placed in the mulch and on the trees of past memorial trees. We'd like to ask that if they could come by and pick those up and refrain from putting any sort of other decorations or memorial items in that mulch area or hanging off the tree. They don't always stay there, and so a lot of the staff end up having to go around and pick them up, or so they don't get removed in a timely manner and end up hurting the tree. So that would be all that. Downtown, with the help of some donors and Discover Oshkosh, we are going to be putting out the flags again along Main Street. So there are over 60 flags that will be put out this year. That's going to be happening starting on Wednesday morning. They're going to go and get as many as they can on Wednesday morning and then put the rest up the following morning on Thursday. With that, going into the flower pots downtown, as Ray had mentioned, there's over 100 different flower pots. The flowers are going to be coming in on Thursday the 15th. So depending on weather and all that kind of stuff, we'll be planting those on Friday and into next week. So things are going to really start to brighten up and get colorful downtown, which is nice.
Could you talk a little bit about the flags and how you're going to leave those up?
Yes. So this year again, thanks to the donors and everything, we have some new poles and some new hardware on the flags so that they won't get tangled up and wrap around themselves, which will be a little more maintenance friendly for us, and which will allow us then to keep them up from now through Labor Day, whereas before we used to always put them up for Memorial Day and then take them down and put them up for Flag Day and take them down and put them up for 4th of July and then Labor Day and take them down. This will save us some work from staff and trying to put them up and take them down all the time, so it works out for us.
But at the same time, the flags take a little bit more beating, so they have to be replaced sooner, so.
Yeah. So we're going through, last year we went through about, I want to say we had to replace about 25 of those flags, just through wear and tear, so. And then we get to shoreland plantings. With your questions there up in Ames Point. So they are being managed by a new group called the Urban Ecology Oshkosh. So I met with them about the middle of last week. They are putting together a presentation for the board to come in June and present so that they can ask for another 3-year project reinstatement. But to your point, Steve, on why everything is cut down. So what they're doing is, in between now and then, they are letting some stuff grow up so that they can identify it, go through, do a plant rescue, if you will, where they're going to take some of the desirable plants, try and hold them over, house them, and then we're going to go through and basically mow everything else that's in there. Go back through, cover it with some cardboard, some dirt, another layer of cardboard, and then a layer of mulch to try and kind of nuke or, kill off all the invasives and all the unwanted species. Once the cardboard degrades a little bit so that it's workable and we can plant, they're going to come through and replant again with some of the more desirable known species from known sources to get that looking a little bit better and then make it a little bit more manageable. So
That's good. Good to hear.
Yeah, they'll be bringing forward a work plan
Yep,
for the
yep.
year. Travis has been working with them on that. And again, 2025 is the end of their 3-year commitment from us as far as allowing it to continue, so
Okay.
they'll be requesting as well.
Yep, so they will be back, or they'll be coming in June to give a brief presentation on that and take your questions directly.
Just back to, you were mentioning the tree mulch decorations. Is there something is it something you would, I'm not saying a policy or an ordinance, that's getting a little out there, but something that we can discourage if it's becoming a problem for your department?
Something that we can discourage. Right now, it just seems I've gotten a lot of reports that there's various
Yeah.
decorations and stuff that are, it's,
We see it along the highways and stuff too, where people put, decorations out because someone was killed in that area or a bad accident or something. I'm just trying to, maybe, is there something that you need from us, if anything, or if it's something you guys can handle internally, then that's fine.
we are working towards kind of revamping our memorial tree program as well. I am thinking about possibly trying to phase out the brick plaques and try and make something more centrally located. I know there are some communities that have everything online and GIS where you can just go online and find out where your memorial tree is. And so with that, I think what we could do is probably work something into the application where it states where it doesn't have, and then come back to you guys and have you recommend that so that we can adopt a new form.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah, I think, as you might imagine, we get calls from individuals that aren't comfortable with it looking more like a memorial site. We understand both sides of it, but I think, like Travis said, it ends up being where we end up taking on the maintenance of some of those things.
Right.
But I think, I agree too, that maybe we work on something with the memorial tree policy and bring that forward. So,
Okay,
yeah.
sounds good. Just want to give you guys tools in the toolbox, as they say.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right, any other business? All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.